The stars watched silently as humanity faced its greatest challenge. On a quiet Tuesday morning, massive ships appeared in Earth's sky. They were dark and smooth, like polished stones floating above every major city. The world stopped. Phones buzzed with alerts, and TV channels showed the same image everywhere, strange vessels hanging in the air like metal clouds. In the Pentagon's main control room, General James Miller stood with his hands behind his back, watching dozens of screens showing the ships worldwide. His gray hair was neatly combed, but his uniform was wrinkled from the 36 hours he'd been awake. Next to him, Dr. Anna Reid, Earth's leading expert in space communication, worked quickly at her computer. "Sir, they're broadcasting something," she said, her fingers moving fast across the keyboard. "It's a message, but it's unlike anything we've seen before." The aliens called themselves the Bright Council. They came from a group of powerful space nations that ruled most of the known galaxy. Their message was simple: Earth would join them, or Earth would die. "They're giving us one Earth day to answer," Anna said, her voice shaking slightly. "They want us to give up all our weapons and accept their rule." General Miller's face turned hard as stone. "Get me the president. Now." In the next few hours, world leaders met in an emergency video call. The Bright Council had made similar threats to other worlds before. They would take over planets, steal their resources, and make their people work like slaves. They thought humans would be easy to defeat, just another simple species to add to their collection. But they had made a big mistake. They didn't know about humanity's secret weapon, not guns or bombs, but something much more powerful: human stubbornness. While the aliens waited for Earth to surrender, people around the world began to work together like never before. Scientists shared their secret research. Engineers opened their private files. Military leaders from different countries talked to each other, sharing plans and ideas. They found something interesting in the alien ship's design. Every time the ship sent a message, their shields would weaken for a split second. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Humans had always been good at finding small advantages and turning them into big victories. Tom Parker, a computer expert from a small town in Ohio, found a way to send a virus through these tiny gaps. The virus wouldn't destroy the ships, but it would confuse their systems for a few minutes. A few minutes was all Earth needed. As the deadline came closer, the world got ready. In secret bases, pilots climbed into their planes. In underground bunkers, computer experts sat at their screens. In laboratories, scientists made final checks on their equipment. They had one chance to show the galaxy that humanity wouldn't go quietly. When the Bright Council's deadline arrived, they expected to hear Earth surrender. Instead, they got something else: silence. Then, exactly at the right moment, every military base, every satellite, and every computer system on Earth acted together. The virus went in first, slipping through the gaps in the alien shields. Their mighty ships started to drift, their systems confused. Then came the attack, not just missiles and planes, but thousands of small, clever strikes at weak points humans had found in the alien defenses. The Bright Council had expected Earth to follow the same pattern as other worlds, to give up when faced with superior technology. They didn't understand that humans had spent their entire history fighting against superior forces. From ancient times to modern days, humans had always found ways to defeat stronger enemies. The first battle lasted only 20 minutes. When it was over, 3 alien ships had crashed into the ocean, and the others were retreating into space. They left behind a message, but this time it wasn't a threat. It was a warning to the rest of the galaxy. Beware the humans. They are not like the others. General Miller watched the alien ships disappear into the sky. Next to him, Anna Reid was already collecting data from the battle. "Sir," she said, looking up from her screen, "they're sending messages to their home worlds. They're calling us dangerous." Miller smiled for the first time in 2 days. Good, he said. Let them know that humanity doesn't surrender. Ever. As news of the victory spread, people around the world celebrated. But in military bases and government offices, leaders were already preparing. This wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. The galaxy would soon learn why humans were different, why Earth wasn't just another planet to conquer. The Bright Council had wanted to make humanity bow down. Instead, they had done something else, they had awakened a sleeping giant. Now the galaxy would learn to fear the species they had tried to enslave. Humanity's rise had begun. 3 months after Earth's victory over the Bright Council's first attack, humans made an amazing discovery. In one of the crashed alien ships at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, scientists found something that would change everything: a map of the galaxy and a complete database of alien technologies. Dr. Anna Reed led the research team studying the alien computer systems. They worked in a secret underwater base built around the crashed ship. One night, while most of the team slept, Anna's computer started blinking with strange symbols. "This can't be right," she whispered, staring at her screen. She quickly called General Miller, who arrived within an hour. "What did you find?" Miller asked, his face lit by the blue glow of the alien screens. "Sir, they've been lying to everyone," Anna said, pointing to the data. "The Bright Council isn't as advanced as they pretend to be. They've been stealing technology from other species for thousands of years. Most of their weapons and ships. They didn't invent them. They just took them and claimed them as their own." This news spread quickly through Earth's leadership. The Bright Council wasn't really more advanced than humans, they were just better thieves. They had bullied hundreds of worlds into surrendering, then stolen their best ideas and inventions. Tom Parker, the computer expert who created the virus that helped defeat the first attack, found something else in the alien data. "Look at this," he said, showing Anna and General Miller a series of numbers. "These are the coordinates of all the worlds they've conquered. And these are the locations of resistance groups on those planets." Miller's eyes lit up. "You mean there are others fighting against them?" "Yes, sir," Tom nodded. "And now we know exactly where they are." Earth's leaders made a bold plan. Instead of waiting for the Bright Council to attack again, humanity would strike first, not at the Council, but by helping other worlds break free. They would use the Council's own stolen technology against them. In secret, Earth began building new ships using the alien designs they'd found. But humans didn't just copy the technology, they made it better. They added their own ideas, fixed the weak points, and made improvements the Bright Council had never thought of. The first human space fleet was ready in just 6 months. It wasn't big, just 20 ships, but they were special. Each one carried something the galaxy had never seen before, a combination of stolen alien technology and human creativity. The fleet's first mission was to contact the resistance on a planet called Blue Haven. The Bright Council had taken over this world 50 years ago, but its people still fought in secret. When the human ships arrived, hiding behind Blue Haven's largest moon, they sent a short message: "We're from Earth. We're here to help." At first, the people of Blue Haven didn't trust the humans. They thought it might be a trick by the Bright Council. But then the humans showed them something amazing: they could disable the Council's control systems using the same virus that had worked on Earth, but made even stronger. Within 2 days, the small human fleet and the Blue Haven resistance worked together to take back their planet. The Council's ships never saw it coming. When they tried to call for help, they found their communication systems didn't work. The people of Blue Haven celebrated their first taste of freedom in 50 years. But the humans didn't stop there. Before leaving Blue Haven, they shared their knowledge with their new allies. They showed them how to build better defenses and gave them copies of the virus. Most importantly, they showed them that the Bright Council could be beaten. News of what happened on Blue Haven spread through the galaxy's secret resistance networks. More and more enslaved worlds began to ask Earth for help. The humans' reputation grew, not just as fighters, but as teachers and allies. The Bright Council was furious. They had never faced anything like this before. Other species usually fought alone, making them easy to defeat. But humans were different. They were helping everyone work together, sharing knowledge and resources. In their grand meeting hall, the council leaders gathered to discuss this new threat. Their supreme leader, wearing formal golden robes, stood up to speak. "These humans must be stopped," he declared. "They are teaching our slaves to resist. They are sharing forbidden knowledge. They are turning our own weapons against us." Another council member spoke up, fear clear in his voice. "But how can we stop them? They know all our secrets now. They're helping everyone fight back. And worst of all, they're not afraid of us." Back on Earth, General Miller stood in a new command center, looking at a giant screen showing the galaxy. Dozens of points of light showed worlds that had already asked for Earth's help. More were joining every day. "Sir," Anna said, walking up to him with a tablet in her hand. "We just got word from Blue Haven. 3 more nearby systems have overthrown their council governors. They're asking for our help to set up defenses." Miller nodded, a small smile on his face. "Send them everything they need. And Anna, send them the virus too. Let's make sure everyone has a chance to fight back." The general turned back to the galaxy map, watching as more and more lights began to shine. The Bright Council had thought they could bully humanity into submission. Instead, they had created their worst nightmare, a species that not only fought back but taught others to do the same. The galaxy was changing. The age of the Bright Council's terror was ending. In its place, a new power was rising, not through fear and theft, but through cooperation and shared knowledge. And at the center of it all was Earth, the planet that dared to say no, the home of humanity, now known throughout the stars as the species that set the galaxy free. 1 year after Earth's first contact with the Bright Council, the galaxy had changed completely. Over 50 worlds had broken free from the Council's control, all with Earth's help. But now the Council was getting ready for their biggest attack yet. In Earth's new Space Command Center, built deep under the Rocky Mountains, General Miller watched as emergency signals flashed across the main screen. Next to him, Anna Reed's face was pale as she read the incoming messages. "They're gathering a massive fleet," she said, her voice tight with worry. "The Council is calling in ships from every corner of their territory. Our spies say they have over 1,000 warships." Miller didn't look scared. Instead, he smiled. "Good. That means their other territories are less protected. Tom, show them what you found." Tom Parker, now the head of Earth's Cyber Warfare Division, stepped forward and pressed a button. A new map appeared on the big screen, showing the Council supply lines in red lines across the galaxy. "While they've been building their fleet, we've been planting our improved virus in all their main computer systems," Tom explained. "We didn't activate it yet. We've been waiting for them to gather their forces." This was humanity's biggest strength. They didn't just fight harder than the Council expected, they fought smarter. While the Council was planning a massive space battle, humans were preparing something completely different. The next day, representatives from all 50 freed worlds met on Earth. They gathered in a huge underground room that humans called the Hall of Freedom. Each representative carried stories of how their people had suffered under the Council's rule, and how Earth had helped them break free. Miller stood before them, his uniform crisp and clean. "The Council thinks this war will be won with big ships and powerful weapons," he said. "But we know better. This war will be won with courage, cleverness, and cooperation." He explained the plan. When the Council's fleet attacked, they would find Earth's defenses supposedly weak and damaged. They would think their victory was certain. But this was a trap. "The moment their main fleet enters our solar system," Tom explained to the group, we'll activate the virus. It won't just affect their ships here, it will spread through their entire network. Every council ship, station, and computer system will shut down at the same time. A representative from Blue Haven stood up. Our people are ready. The moment their systems go down, we'll strike at every council base in our sector. One by one, other representatives stood, each promising their help. This wasn't just Earth's fight anymore, it was a fight for every species that had ever suffered under the Council's rule. The Council's attack came 3 days later. Their fleet was enormous, filling the space around Earth's moon with so many ships they looked like a swarm of metal insects. Their supreme leader sent a message to Earth, his golden robes shining on the video screen. Surrender now, he demanded, and we might let some of your species live as slaves. General Miller sent back a simple reply, no. The Council ships moved forward, their weapons charging. But just before they could fire, Tom Parker pressed a single button in the command center. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like dominoes falling, the Council ships began to go dark. Their lights flickered and died. Their engines stopped. Their weapons powered down. The mighty fleet that was supposed to crush Earth became nothing more than metal boxes floating in space. But that was just the beginning. Across the galaxy, the virus spread through the Council's networks. On every conquered world, their control systems failed. Their security robots shut down. Their communication networks went silent. And then, as planned, the resistance struck back. On 100 worlds, people who had lived under the Council's boot for generations rose up. Earth had given them weapons, training, and most importantly, hope. The Council's leaders, sitting in their grand hall, suddenly found themselves powerless. Their stolen technology, which they had used to bully the galaxy for so long, was now useless. When their emergency alerts finally started working again, the news was all bad. We've lost control of the outer systems, one council member reported, his voice shaking. The inner systems are in chaos. The slave worlds, they're all rising up. The Supreme Leader's golden robes didn't shine so brightly now. How, he demanded. How could these humans do this to us? The answer was simple, though the Council couldn't understand it. Humans had done something the Council never did, they had shared their power instead of hoarding it. They had made allies instead of slaves. They had taught others to be strong instead of keeping them weak. Back in Earth's command center, Miller watched as reports came in from across the galaxy. The Council's mighty empire was falling apart in a single day. But Earth's forces weren't destroying it, they were helping to build something new in its place. Sir, Anna called out, we're getting messages from worlds we've never contacted before. They're asking to join our alliance. They say they want to be part of the Earth Union. Miller looked at the galaxy map, where the Council's red territory was quickly being replaced by the blue of free worlds. Tell them yes, he said. Tell them all yes. The galaxy doesn't need rulers anymore. It needs friends. As the day ended, humanity had done more than just defeat their enemy. They had changed the way the galaxy thought about power. The Council had tried to rule through fear, but humans had shown there was a better way, to lead through trust and cooperation. The species that the Council had thought would be easy to conquer had not only fought back but had changed the galaxy forever. Humanity had risen not as conquerors, but as liberators. And that, more than any weapon or technology, was what made them the most feared, and most respected, species in the galaxy. 6 months after the great victory over the Bright Council, Earth faced a new problem. The Council wasn't completely destroyed. Some of their leaders had escaped, taking their most dangerous weapons with them. They were hiding somewhere in the unexplored parts of the galaxy, planning their revenge. In the Earth Union's new headquarters on Mars, General Miller stood before a group of representatives from 200 free worlds. The meeting room was carved into the red rock of Olympus Mons, the solar system's tallest mountain. "We've detected strange energy signals from the dark zone," Miller said, pointing to a black area on the galaxy map. "Our scouts report that surviving Council ships are gathering there." Anna Reed, now the head of Earth Union Intelligence, stepped forward. "The Council leaders who escaped are trying to build a new empire. They're contacting criminal groups and pirates, promising them power if they help attack the Earth Union." This news worried many of the representatives. The Dark Zone was a dangerous region where stars were packed so closely together that normal space travel was almost impossible. It was the perfect hiding place for someone planning a surprise attack. But humans had learned from their past battles. Tom Parker and his team had spent months creating new technologies that combined human ideas with knowledge from all the freed worlds. "We've developed something new," Tom announced, pressing a button. A hologram appeared, showing a strange-looking ship. "We call it the Shadow Hunter. It can travel through the dark zone using a new kind of engine that copies the way deep-sea fish move through dark water." The plan was bold. Earth would send a small fleet of shadow hunters to find the Council's hidden base. But they needed help from their allies. Each free world had different skills and knowledge that could help the mission succeed. The people of Blue Haven, who had lived in darkness under the ocean to hide from the Council, taught the Shadow Hunter crews how to navigate using sound waves instead of light. Another species, who could see heat instead of light, helped design special sensors for the ships. As the preparations continued, Earth got an unexpected message. It came from a small trading ship that had barely escaped the Dark Zone. The pilot, his voice shaking with fear, reported seeing something terrible. "The Council leaders," he said, "they're not just hiding. They're building something huge. Something that makes their old weapons look like toys." Miller called an emergency meeting with Anna and Tom. "What do you think they're making?" he asked. Anna studied the trader's report. "According to this, they're building a device that can shut down all technology in an entire star system. They're planning to use it on Earth first, then attack all our allies while we can't help them." This was the Council's new plan. They couldn't defeat humanity in a fair fight, so they would try to cut Earth off from its allies. They wanted to turn back time to when every world had to fight alone. But they had forgotten something important about humans: they were at their most dangerous when things seemed hopeless. "Send the Shadow Hunters," Miller ordered. "But add something special to their mission." The special edition was a gift from Earth's allies. The people of Green Forest, who could talk to plants, had discovered a way to send messages through space using quantum-linked seeds. No technology could block these messages. Even if the Council's weapon worked, Earth would still be able to coordinate with its allies. 20 shadow hunters slipped into the dark zone, moving like black ghosts between the crowded stars. Their crews were a mix of humans and aliens, each bringing their own special skills to the mission. On their third week of searching, they found it, a massive space station hidden in the shadow of a dying star. Around it, hundreds of Council ships patrolled. And in the center, they saw it, a huge device that looked like a metal spider web. "That's their super weapon," the mission commander reported back to Earth. "But there's something else. We're picking up distress signals from inside the station. They have prisoners." The signals were coming from captured scientists and engineers from different worlds. The Council was forcing them to help build the weapon, just like they had stolen technology from others for thousands of years. Miller looked at the images of the prison cells in the station. His face grew hard with anger. "The Council still hasn't learned," he said. "They think power only comes from taking things from others." He turned to Tom. "How long would it take to modify our virus to work on their new systems?" Tom smiled. "Already done, sir. And this time, we added something special. When it shuts down their technology, it will send a signal to all their prison cells. Every door will open." The attack was set for 3 days later. As the shadow hunters moved into position, Miller sent a message to every world in the Earth Union: get ready. Freedom is about to ring again. The Council never saw it coming. 1 minute, their superweapon was almost ready to launch. The next minute, their station's lights went dark, their ship stopped working, and every prison door slid open. The freed prisoners, who had been forced to build weapons for their captors, now turned those same weapons against them. The Council leaders tried to run, but this time there was nowhere left to hide. As the shadow hunters brought the captured Council leaders back to Earth, Miller stood in the Mars headquarters, watching the mission reports come in. Anna walked up to him, holding a data pad. "Sir," she said, "we found something interesting in their files. Want to know why they were so afraid of humans?" Miller nodded. "According to their oldest records, they once met another species like us thousands of years ago. A species that shared knowledge instead of stealing it. The Council destroyed them because they were afraid of what would happen if their slaves learned there was another way to live." Miller looked out the window at the red Martian landscape, where a new city was being built, a place where humans and aliens would live and work together. "They were right to be afraid," he said. "Because that's exactly what we did. We showed the galaxy there was a better way. And now there's no going back." 1 year after the final defeat of the Bright Council, a discovery shook the Earth Union to its core. During the cleanup of the Council's hidden base in the Dark Zone, researchers found something that changed everything: a message left behind by an ancient species. In the Mars Command Center, Anna Reed played the message for General Miller and representatives from the free worlds. The hologram showed a tall, peaceful-looking being made of silvery light. "If you are watching this," the ancient being said, "then the Bright Council has finally fallen. We are the Light Walkers. We were the guardians of this galaxy before the Council destroyed us. We left this warning for whoever might defeat them: the greatest threat to the galaxy still sleeps." The being's light flickered as it continued: "Deep in the space between galaxies, there is something waiting. The Council found it long ago, but they were too afraid to wake it. They built their empire to prepare for its return, but they did it the wrong way. They tried to control everything instead of working together." Miller leaned forward, his face serious. "What are they talking about?" The answer came from the oldest member of the Free Worlds, a wise leader from a planet called Star Heart. "There are stories," he said, his voice soft, "about things that live between galaxies. Things that eat stars." Tom Parker, who had been scanning old Council records, found something that matched these stories. "Look at this," he said, bringing up ancient star maps on the big screen. "Every few million years, whole groups of stars just disappear. The Council knew about it, but they kept it secret." The Light Walker's message continued: "We tried to warn the Council that fear and control wouldn't save the galaxy. Only unity and trust can prepare us for what's coming. Those who defeated the Council must do what they could not: bring the galaxy together, not through fear, but through hope." The meeting room burst into worried talk. Some representatives wanted to build bigger weapons. Others wanted to hide their worlds. But Miller had a different idea. "The Council failed because they tried to fight alone," he said, standing up. "They kept secrets and stole from others. We won because we worked together. That's how we'll face this new threat, together." Over the next few months, Earth led the biggest cooperative project in galaxy history. Every world shared their knowledge freely. Scientists from 1,000 species worked side by side. They built huge deep space telescopes to watch the darkness between galaxies. They created new ships that could travel faster than ever before. Most importantly, they taught each other everything they knew. Then, 6 months later, the telescope spotted something. At first, it looked like a dark cloud moving between the stars. But as they watched, they realized it was heading toward the galaxy. In an emergency meeting, Anna showed the latest images. "It's bigger than anything we've ever seen," she said. "And it's not alone. There are more behind it. But Earth and its allies were ready. They had built a network of quantum-linked seeds across the galaxy, so everyone could communicate instantly. They had ships that combined technology from dozens of worlds. Most importantly, they had trust in each other. Miller stood before the Earth Union Assembly. The Council thought the only way to face this threat was to control everyone, he said. They were wrong. Look at us now, hundreds of different species working together because we want to, not because we're forced to. He pointed to the galaxy map, where thousands of lights showed all the worlds that had joined together. The Council spent thousands of years building an empire of fear. We spent 2 years building a family of friends. Which do you think is stronger? The answer came sooner than anyone expected. The dark things from between the galaxies arrived at the outer edges of their space. They were enormous shadow creatures that could swallow entire stars. But instead of finding a galaxy divided and weak, they found something unprecedented, a galaxy united and strong. When the shadow creatures approached the first star system, they didn't face one world's defenses. They faced the combined power of 1,000 worlds working together. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Ships from every world fought side by side. When one world's weapons didn't work, another's did. When one group needed help, 10 others came to aid them. The shadow creatures had never faced anything like this before. They were used to finding divided worlds, easy to pick off one by one. Instead, they found a galaxy that fought as one. In the Mars Command Center, Miller watched as reports came in from the battle. Next to him, representatives from dozens of worlds coordinated their forces together. "Sir," Anna called out, excitement in her voice. "The shadow creatures, they're retreating. Our combined weapons actually hurt them. They've never had to retreat before." As the shadow creatures fled back to the darkness between galaxies, celebrations broke out across thousands of worlds. But this time, they weren't celebrating a victory over each other. They were celebrating a victory they had won together. Miller stood at the window of the Mars base, looking at the stars. A representative from Blue Haven joined him. "You know what's interesting," the Blue Haven leader said. "The Council spent thousands of years trying to prepare for this threat by making everyone afraid of them. But in just 2 years, humans prepared us better than the Council ever did." "How?" Miller asked. "By teaching us not to be afraid," the leader answered. "By showing us that we're stronger together than we ever were alone. That's why the galaxy fears and respects humans now, not because of your weapons or your cleverness, but because you showed us all how to be better." As news of the victory spread, more worlds asked to join the Earth Union. They didn't join out of fear, like they had with the Council. They joined because they had seen what was possible when the galaxy worked together. The ancient Light Walkers had been right. The Council's way of fear and control had failed. But humanity's way, unity, trust, and cooperation, had succeeded. The galaxy's most feared species had become its greatest hope. After driving away the shadow creatures, the Earth Union faced an unexpected challenge: they had become too powerful. Ships from their combined fleet could now travel between galaxies. Their weapons could move stars. Their technology could reshape planets. Many worlds began to worry: would humans become like the Council, corrupted by their own power? In the Great Meeting Hall on Mars, General Miller faced these concerns directly. Representatives from thousands of worlds watched as he stepped up to speak. 3 years ago, he began, Earth was just another world facing the Council's threats. Today, our Union is the most powerful force this galaxy has ever seen. But power isn't what makes us strong. He waved his hand, and the room's lights dimmed. Above everyone's heads, a hologram showed the galaxy spinning slowly, filled with bright points of light representing all the member worlds. "What makes us strong," Miller continued, "is that we choose to use our power differently. The Council kept secrets, we share knowledge. They forced obedience, we invite cooperation. They ruled through fear, we lead through trust. But not everyone was convinced. Some worlds, especially those that had suffered longest under the Council, were scared. They had seen how power could corrupt even the best intentions. Anna Reed, working with Tom Parker, found a solution. They created something new, the Galaxy Memory Project. It would record everything, every decision, every action, every use of power. Nothing could be hidden. Every world could see everything that happened in the Union. Darkness fears light, Anna explained to the assembly. The Council kept secrets because they were afraid. We'll share everything because we're not afraid. Any world can check what we're doing at any time. Tom added something special to the project, a system that let every world vote on big decisions. No single species, not even humans, could make important choices alone. Real power would belong to everyone together. But just as this new system was being set up, a strange message arrived from the edge of the galaxy. A small research ship had found something, another message from the Light Walkers, but this one was different. In the Mars Command Center, Miller, Anna, and representatives from key worlds watched as the message played. The Light Walkers' form flickered with urgency. If you're seeing this, it said, you've probably already faced the shadow creatures. But they weren't the real test. They were just the beginning. The real challenge is what you'll do with the power you gained by working together. The being's light pulsed brighter. We Light Walkers failed this test. We became proud. We thought we knew best. That's why the Council was able to destroy us. Don't make our mistake. Power isn't meant to be held, it's meant to be shared. The message ended with coordinates, the location of the Light Walkers' last great project, hidden on a planet at the galaxy's edge. Miller sent the most advanced Earth Union ship to investigate. When it arrived, the crew found something amazing, a library containing the complete history of the galaxy, including warnings about dangers that even the Council hadn't known about. But more importantly, they found the Light Walkers' final gift, the plans for a device that could share power equally among all worlds. No species would be stronger than others. Everyone would rise together. Back in the Mars meeting hall, Miller presented this discovery to the assembly. This is a test, he said. We can keep power for ourselves, like the Council did. Or we can share it with everyone, like we've always said we would. The vote was unanimous. Every world in the Union agreed to use the Light Walkers' device. It took 6 months to build it, with teams from thousands of worlds working together. They called it the Unity Core. On the day they activated it, something remarkable happened. The device didn't just share power, it combined the unique abilities of every species in ways no one had imagined. The people of Blue Haven, who could sense things in darkness, found their abilities enhanced by the technology of Starheart. The engineers of Green Forest discovered their plant-based computers worked better when combined with human programming. But the biggest surprise came 3 days after the Unity Core was activated. Deep in space, lights began to appear, the Light Walkers were returning. Not as rulers or guides, but as equals, ready to join the Union they had hoped would one day exist. In the Mars Command Center, Miller watched as the Light Walkers' ships approached Earth. Anna stood beside him, reading the first messages from these ancient beings. They say we succeeded where they failed, she said. We didn't just face the shadow creatures, we faced the temptation of power itself. And we chose to share it instead of keep it. Miller nodded, looking at the galaxy map where all the worlds shone with the same brightness. That's why humans became the most feared species in the galaxy, he said. Not because we were powerful, but because we weren't afraid to give power away. The Light Walkers joined the Earth Union as equals, not leaders. They brought their knowledge and wisdom, but they also came to learn. They had seen thousands of species rise and fall over millions of years, but they had never seen anything like what humanity had built. Your greatest strength, one light walker told Miller, isn't your technology or your weapons. It's your ability to bring out the best in others. You didn't just defeat the Council, you helped the galaxy become what it always should have been. As the year ended, the Earth Union had grown into something unprecedented, a civilization where power flowed freely between all worlds, where every species could reach its full potential, and where fear had been replaced by trust. The galaxy had learned to fear humans not because of their strength, but because they had shown everyone a better way to be strong. In doing so, they had changed not just the galaxy, but the very meaning of power itself. 5 years had passed since Earth first faced the Bright Council. The galaxy had changed so much that it was hard to remember how things used to be. The Earth Union now included species from 3 galaxies, all working together in ways that once seemed impossible. On a special day marking 5 years since the first Council attack, General Miller stood in the new Union Center on Earth. The building was unlike anything ever built before, it used technology and ideas from 10,000 different worlds. Its great dome showed real-time images of every star in the known universe. When the Council first came to Earth, Miller said to the gathered representatives, they thought we would be easy to defeat. They were the most powerful force in the galaxy. We were just one small world that hadn't even reached its closest stars yet. He smiled, looking at the faces of beings from across the universe. Some were made of light, like the light walkers. Others were formed from pure energy, or lived in clouds of gas. All were equal members of the Union. But they didn't understand what really makes a species powerful, he continued. They thought power came from weapons, from control, from making others afraid. We showed them, and the galaxy, that real power comes from working together. Anna Reed, now the head of the Union's knowledge exchange, stepped forward. She activated a special display showing how far they had come. 5 years ago, we could barely reach our own moon, she said. Now, our combined ships can travel between galaxies. 5 years ago, we fought with simple weapons. Now, we can move stars and create new worlds. But our greatest achievement isn't our technology. She waved her hand, and the display changed to show thousands of schools, research centers, and meeting places across the galaxies. In every image, different species worked together, learned together, and solved problems together. Our greatest achievement is that we've created a civilization where no one needs to be afraid anymore, she said. Where knowledge flows freely, where every voice matters, and where we face every challenge together. Tom Parker, who had first created the virus that helped defeat the Council, now led the Union's innovation team. He showed everyone their newest creation, a network that could instantly share thoughts and ideas across infinite distances. The Council spent thousands of years stealing ideas, he said. We spent 5 years learning how to share them. Guess which way worked better? But the most amazing moment came when they received a message from deep space. The shadow creatures, which they had driven away years ago, wanted to talk. They had watched how the Union worked, and for the first time in their ancient existence, they felt something new, hope. In a historic meeting, representatives from the Union met with the shadow creatures in the space between galaxies. They learned that these beings weren't evil, they had been alone and afraid, just like everyone else. Through the Union's new translation technology, the shadow creatures explained, we watched how you changed the galaxy. You didn't destroy your enemies, you turned them into friends. You didn't keep power, you shared it. We want to learn from you. This was humanity's greatest victory, not defeating enemies, but turning them into allies. The shadow creatures joined the Union, bringing their unique abilities to help explore the darkest parts of space. Back on Earth, Miller stood in his old office at the Pentagon. It seemed small now, compared to the grand buildings of the Union. But he kept it to remember where everything started. Anna joined him, holding a data pad with the latest Union reports. Did you ever think, she asked, when we first faced the Council, that it would lead to all this? Miller looked out the window at the sunset. No, he said. We just did what humans always do, we faced a challenge, and we found a way to overcome it. We didn't try to be the strongest or the scariest. We just tried to be the best allies we could be. And that's why the galaxy feared us, Anna said. Because we showed them that everything they thought about power was wrong. A light walker appeared in the office, its silvery form glowing softly. We watched your species for a long time, it said. Many thought you would become like the Council, hungry for power, afraid of losing control. Instead, you became something new. You became teachers, friends, partners. You taught the galaxy how to trust again. The light walker's glow brightened. That's your true legacy. Not the weapons you created or the battles you won, but the hope you gave to everyone. You showed us all that there's always a better way, if we're brave enough to try it. As night fell on Earth, light sparkled in the sky, not stars, but the combined glow of 1,000,000 worlds working together. The Council had tried to rule the galaxy through fear. Humans had transformed it through friendship. In the end, that was why humanity had become the galaxy's most feared species, not because of their weapons or their technology, but because they had the power to change how everyone thought about power itself. They had shown that the strongest force in the universe wasn't fear or control, but the simple willingness to work together. And that was a force that could never be defeated.